She found out on Valentine's Day. Not from a text, not from a friend, not from anything she was looking for. She found out because she came home early with flowers. Before we dive in, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoy stories like this, be sure to like the video, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share it with someone who'd love it too. The flowers were her idea. She had stopped at a grocery store on the way home from work. Nothing fancy, just a mixed bouquet in a plastic sleeve, the kind they keep near the entrance next to the Valentine's Day balloons and the marked-up chocolate boxes. She had grabbed them on impulse. She was not usually the one who brought flowers. That was always his job. But she had been trying lately. Trying to close a distance she could feel but couldn't name. She had been with Marcus for 4 years, engaged for 7 months. The wedding was 11 weeks away. Her name was Callie Reeves, 31 years old, high school English teacher from just outside Nashville, Tennessee. The kind of person who graded papers on Friday nights not because she had to, but because she genuinely cared how her students turned out. The kind of person who remembered birthdays without Facebook, who kept a handwritten grocery list, who still called her grandmother every Sunday without being reminded. She was not naive. She was not dramatic. She was not the kind of woman who looked for problems. She was the kind of woman who assumed the best about people until she couldn't anymore. She pulled into the driveway at 4:47 p.m. Marcus's car was there, and which made sense. He worked from home on Fridays. His best friend Devin's car was also there, which was not unusual. Devin came by a lot. The three of them had dinner together at least twice a month. Callie liked Devin. She had always liked Devin. She grabbed the flowers off the passenger seat, went to the front door, found it unlocked, and walked in. The house was quiet in a way that felt intentional. She noticed it before she noticed anything else. She set her bag down in the entryway. She called Marcus's name. No answer. She walked down the hallway toward the kitchen. She was going to put the flowers in a vase. She was thinking about what to make for dinner. She was thinking about whether they had reservations or whether she should make them. She pushed open the kitchen door, and there it was. Not Devin, not Marcus, both of them. Together. The flowers hit the floor before she even realized she had dropped them. Nobody moved for what felt like a very long time. What happened in the next 60 seconds? The words said, the words not said. The sound of a chair scraping against tile, the way Marcus said her name like a question. She would not talk about publicly for a long time. Not because it broke her, but because some moments belong only to the people who were in the room. What she did after those 60 seconds is the part of this story that changed everything. She picked up the flowers off the kitchen floor. She walked back down the hallway. She picked up her bag from the entryway. And she left. She did not slam the door. She pulled it shut behind her with a soft, deliberate click. She sat in her car in the driveway for 4 minutes. She knew it was 4 minutes because she watched the clock on the dashboard the entire time. She did not cry. She did not call anyone. She just sat there with the engine off and the flowers in her lap, and 4 years of her life rearranging itself inside her chest into something she didn't have a word for yet. Then she started the car and drove. She ended up at her best friend Yolanda's apartment 20 minutes later. Yolanda opened the door, took one look at Callie's face, and stepped aside without saying a word. That is the kind of friend Yolanda was. She did not ask questions. She put the kettle on. Callie sat at Yolanda's kitchen table and told her everything in the same flat, even voice she used when she was explaining something to a student who was confused. Not because she was in shock, not because she was numb, but because she had already decided somewhere on that 20-minute drive that she was not going to let this make her someone she didn't recognize. Yolanda listened to all of it. Then she asked one question. "What do you want to do?" Callie thought about it for a long moment. "I want to eat something," she said. "I haven't eaten since this morning." Yolanda ordered pizza. They did not talk about Marcus again that night. What they did talk about for 3 hours, over pizza and then ice cream, and then the end of a movie neither of them was really watching, was everything else. Callie's students, Yolanda's job, a trip they had talked about taking for 2 years and never taken, small, ordinary things, the kind of conversation that reminds a person that their life is larger than their worst moment. Callie slept on Yolanda's couch that night. She slept better than she had in months. Marcus called 11 times before midnight. She let every call go to voicemail. Devin called twice. She deleted those without listening. In the morning, she made a list. Not an emotional list, not a revenge list, a practical one. She was a practical person. She sat at Yolanda's kitchen table with a yellow legal pad and a cup of coffee, and she wrote down everything that needed to happen. The venue deposit, the catering contract, the dress, which had already been altered once, the invitations that had gone out to 140 people 6 weeks earlier, the hotel room block, the photographer. She worked through the list methodically, item by item, for 2 hours. Then she picked up the phone and called the venue. The woman at the venue was named Patricia. That Callie had spoken to her 8 times over the past 7 months. Patricia answered with the warm, practiced professionalism of someone who had seen everything. Callie explained the situation calmly. There was a pause. "Honey," Patricia said quietly, "what do you need me to do?" "I need to know what we can recover," Callie said. Patricia told her. The deposit was non-refundable. The catering contract had a cancellation window that had closed 3 weeks earlier. The total financial loss, if she canceled everything, was going to be significant. Patricia walked her through each line item without rushing her. At the end, she said something that Callie would remember for a long time. "You know," Patricia said, "I've been doing this for 22 years. I've seen people cancel for a lot of reasons. The ones who call me the morning after, the ones who already have a list, they always end up okay." Callie thanked her and hung up. She sat with the numbers for a few minutes. Then she called her mother. Her mother, Callie Reeves, was 63 years old, retired school teacher, lived 40 minutes outside Nashville in the same house where Callie had grown up. Sandra had liked Marcus. She had never loved him. Callie knew that now, looking back. But she had been supportive in the careful, measured way that mothers are supportive when they're not entirely sure, but they want their child to be happy. When Callie finished telling her what had happened, Sandra was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Are you safe?" "Yes," Callie said. "Are you somewhere you feel okay?" "Yes." "Then everything else," Sandra said, "we'll figure out." That was the conversation. 3 minutes. No theatrics. No rage on her behalf, at least not out loud. Just a mother making sure her daughter was standing on solid ground before anything else. What Sandra did next, Callie didn't find out about until later. Sandra called every family member who had been invited to the wedding. Every single one. She made the calls herself, one by one, over the course of that Saturday afternoon. She told them what had happened. She told them the wedding was off. She told them that Callie was fine and did not need phone calls right now but would be grateful for space and time. She handled all of it so that Callie didn't have to. Callie found out 3 days later, when her Aunt Brenda sent a text that said, "Your mama is something else. We love you, baby. Take your time." She read that text standing in the parking lot of the school where she taught on a Tuesday morning, 5 minutes before the first bell. She stood there for a moment. Then she walked inside and taught 4 classes. Marcus had, by this point, sent 17 text messages, left 9 voicemails, and shown up at the house twice. The house was in Callie's name. She had bought it before they met. She changed the locks on Sunday morning alone with a YouTube tutorial and a screwdriver kit she found in the garage. It took her 45 minutes. She got it right on the second try. She kept the ring, not out of bitterness, not as a symbol, purely as a financial decision. It was hers. She had it appraised the following week. The appraiser, a quiet, older man named Gerald, who worked out of a small shop near downtown Nashville, I looked at it carefully under his loupe for a long moment and then looked up at her. "Nice stone," he said. "What's it worth?" she asked. He told her. She thanked him, put it back in the velvet pouch, and drove home. She sold it 3 weeks later to a private buyer Yolanda found through a jeweler she knew. The money covered the catering cancellation fee with enough left over to pay 2 months of her mortgage. That was not the part that shocked everyone. This was. 6 weeks after Valentine's Day, Callie Reeves took the non-refundable venue deposit, the money she couldn't get back no matter what, and instead of letting it disappear, she called Patricia at the venue. "I want to use the date," she said. Patricia paused. "For what?" "A dinner," Callie said. "For my students." She taught junior and senior English at a Title I high school, and a significant portion of her students came from homes where a sit-down dinner in a formal venue was not something that had ever happened. Prom existed, but not everyone could afford it, and not everyone felt like they belonged there. Callie had been thinking about her students a lot in those 6 weeks. She had been thinking about the things she wanted to teach them that weren't in any curriculum. She called it a formal dinner. No theme, no prom energy, just dinner. Tables with real tablecloths, real plates, a 3-course meal, music, a dress code that she personally helped 12 students shop for at thrift stores on 2 separate Saturdays. Her own money, no announcement made about it. She invited every junior and senior who wanted to come. 83 students showed up. She stood at the entrance of the venue, the same venue where she was supposed to get married, in a green dress she had bought for $60 at a consignment shop, and she greeted every single student by name as they walked in. Nobody there knew what the night had originally been planned for. Or maybe some of them did. Word travels. But nobody said anything. They just walked in, looked around at the tables and the lights and the actual cloth napkins, and something shifted in their faces. The shift that happens when someone is shown that they are worth something being made beautiful for them. One of her students, a 17-year-old boy named Terrence, who had not smiled at much of anything all year, walked in, stopped, looked at the room, and turned to Callie. "Ms. Reeves," he said, "this is real?" "This is real," she said. And he straightened his tie, a clip-on, borrowed from his uncle, and walked in. She did not post about it on social media. She did not send a press release. She did not tell the story to anyone outside of the people in that room and the handful of colleagues who had helped her pull it off. Someone else did. A parent of one of her students posted a photo on Facebook, just the room, the tables, the lights, no faces of minors, with a short caption explaining what had happened. Not the full story. Just, "Our kids' teacher turned her canceled wedding venue into a dinner for her students." That's it. The post was shared 40,000 times in 72 hours. Callie found out it had gone viral when Yolanda called her on a Thursday morning, laughing and crying at the same time. "You're everywhere," Yolanda said. "I'm in my car," Callie said. I'm going to work." She went to work. She taught 4 classes. She graded papers that evening. She called her grandmother on Sunday. The story reached national news outlets by the following week. She gave 2 interviews, short ones, controlled, focused entirely on the students and not on Marcus or Valentine's Day or any of the details people were hungry for. She said the same thing in both interviews, in slightly different words. "I had a space," she said. "I had students who deserved to be in it. That math was pretty simple." That was all she gave them. Because the full story, the flowers on the kitchen floor, the 4 minutes in the driveway, the yellow legal pad, her mother making 40 phone calls on a Saturday afternoon, Terrence and his clip-on tie, that story wasn't for the internet. It was for her. And she knew, and with the kind of quiet certainty that doesn't need anyone else to confirm it, that she had done the right thing with all of it. Not because it made her look good, not because it went viral, but because on an evening in early spring, 83 teenagers sat down to a dinner that told them they were worth something beautiful, and that had nothing to do with Marcus or the ring or Valentine's Day. It had everything to do with who Callie Reeves had always been, before any of this happened, and after. Some people fall apart when everything falls through. Some people find out, for the first time, exactly what they're made of. If this story stayed with you, share it with someone who needs it today. And if you're not part of this community yet, subscribe. We'd love to have you here.